Welcome to this video tutorial where you're going to learn how to build a Notion client portal from scratch. In this tutorial, I will be guiding you through the process of creating a simple and efficient client portal that will be easy for you to manage long-term, as well as easy for your clients to understand and use. A client portal is a powerful tool that allows you to track project progress, allows you to easily communicate with your clients, as well as allows them to submit requirements for certain projects that you may be working on. By building a client portal using Notion, you can streamline your client management process, and overall, you can use it as a tool to help you close deals, as well as improve customer retention. I'll be walking you through the step-by-step process of creating this client portal and making sure to highlight the key features so that you know how to properly use them. By creating this client portal from scratch, you're going to be able to understand how it's constructed so that you can better understand in the future how to tailor it to meet your business's needs, and also be able to explain to your clients how it works. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and build the client portal that's going to take your client management to the next level. Okay, to start off, we're going to create an empty page here in Notion, and this is going to act as our main dashboard to be able to see all of our project progress and tasks and time entries and everything else that you want to show to your clients. So we're going to select empty page here, and then let's go to the right-hand side and we're going to select the three circles, and we are going to change this into a full width page. Once you've made the page full width, we're going to come down to the body of the page and we're going to do slash and then search for page again. And then instead of selecting empty page like we did last time, we're going to select templates. And when you open up templates, you can see you're automatically put in projects and tasks. And that's exactly the template that we're going to choose. But also know that you can choose projects, tasks, and sprints if you work together with your clients in sprints. Now, the sprints can be a little time consuming to manage, making sure that tasks are in the correct sprints and all of that. And I found in the long run that project and task is more efficient, and really clients don't really care too much about sprints from what I've noticed so far. So I'm going to select project and tasks, select get template. And then what that has done is if we go back to the main page, you can see that it's created two databases. We have projects and then we have tasks. Just to give you an overview of what this looks like, we're going to select into projects, and you can see that we have some views up here. First off, we have active, which is going to show projects that you're actively working on. We have a timeline view, so you can see your projects in exactly that, a timeline, and see how efficient you are at completing projects. We also have a board view that's going to allow you to see your projects based on their status. And then finally, an all view that allows you to see all of your projects that you've had historically. Now, if we click into these projects, you can see that Notion already gives you a good idea of what some of these projects templates should look like. And then you can see we also have some related tasks. And we also have this really cool AI feature by Notion that allows you to summarize what a project might cover. Now let's go take a look at what Notion created with the tasks database. So we're going to go back to the main page, select tasks. And then you can see we can have a view of tasks by project. We also can see tasks by status. And then we can also see all tasks. Notion's done a really good job of setting up projects and tasks for us, so we don't really have to change that data too much right now. Let's move on to our next step, where we're going to be able to recognize what is the time that we're spending on both tasks and ultimately have that roll up to overall how much time it took to complete the project. So we're going to do a slash, and then we're going to do page again. And then this time we're going to select table. You're then going to select new database on the right-hand side. And then we're going to name this database time entries. Then let's go ahead and remove this tags property. And we're going to then add a status property, and we're going to give it a few options here. So we're just going to come in here into the in progress one, and we're actually just going to name it into running instead. Then we're going to come here to the complete, and we're going to change it from done into stopped. This is going to be important for an automation that we're going to be creating later. And I like to change the colors here. So I'm going to change this to green. And then I'm going to change this one to red. Next up, let's create two date properties that will allow us to track the start time and end time of our time entries. So we're going to, again, select the plus button here, and then we're going to select date. Then in here, we're going to say start time. And then we're going to, again, create another property that's a date, and then we're going to name this one end time. Now let's enter in some fake times here so that when we're creating some formulas to track how much time is being spent on these tasks, we have some actual data to play with. So I'm just going to enter in here, let's do 12 p.m. until, let's say, 1 p.m. Next up, we're going to create a formula property. So select formula, and then we're going to name this one total minutes. Go in and edit the formula. And what we're going to do here is we're going to utilize date between. So we're going to search for the date between function, select, and then let's go ahead and get rid of this bracket for now. Then we're going to select end time, comma, start time, comma, and then in quotes, we're going to put minutes. Close it off and then put that ending bracket. And then you can see here that it's accurately tracking it. This is a total of an hour, which equals 60 minutes. Now let's also do a calculation on the total hours that are being spent on each of these tasks. So again, we're going to create another property, and this is going to be a formula. And we're going to name this one total hours. Go ahead and edit the formula. And then to do this calculation, we're going to take that total minutes formula that we created and divide it by 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour, and then select done. This gives us 60 minutes, and then total hours 1. We could play around with this too. We could put it at 1:30 p.m. instead. You can see that adjusts it to 90 minutes and then 1.5 total hours. Next up is completely optional based on if you want to give this information to your client, but you could also put in the billable amount for this time entry. So to do that, we're going to create another formula, and we're going to name this billable amount. Go ahead and edit the formula. And then we're simply just going to take that total hours and we're going to multiply it by your hourly rate. So for this example, let's say that my hourly rate is $125. I'm going to hit done. And then we can go ahead and change this from number into a US dollar. And so if we were to move this back to just an hour, you can see that it has entered in that $125 amount. And so what you can do over time is you can go ahead and you can track what is the total amount for certain projects or tasks. And let me enter in some fake data here so that you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so now that I've entered some fake data, you can come here to the billable amount and then select calculate, and then we can go ahead and sum it. So you can see the sum of these 3 time entries equals 375. Next up, we need to create a relationship with the task database. So we're going to create a property and we're going to select relation. We're then going to relate it to the task database. So we're going to select this one, and then we're going to show it on tasks. And then we're going to add relation. And then with some of that sample data we have already from Notion, let's go ahead and tie these to some of those tasks just for later on. And then before we leave this database, we're going to adjust the database template real quick. So right next to new, select the drop down and then select new template. And we're going to enter in for the title here, time entry. We're then also going to add an icon, and you can choose whatever you want here, but I like to choose a clock and then select that there. And then I'd probably move these around a little bit. So move the status to the top, move start time, end time here, put the total hours and total minutes. And then we're going to have the task related as a page section so that it shows up here. And then if you want to see those changes reflected on some of the tasks that we already have, just open up one, hit the time entry database template, and you can see that the time entry has filled in here for the title. We have that clock, and then you have task as a page section. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to go to the task database so that we can set up the automations for whenever you're working on particular tasks to start that clock for your time entries. And the way that we're going to do that is, again, we're going to come here to the database template here on the task database now, and we're going to select the dropdown next to new. And we are going to, let's just go ahead and edit the default template, edit it. And we'll probably just remove this description for now. And I like the task icon to be like a check mark. Totally up to you and your preference. And I like it to be a little bit darker. But here on the task database template, we're going to create that automation. So we're going to do a slash, and then you're going to search for button. And then for this button automation, we're going to name it new time entry. Then let's go ahead and select add icon, and we're going to search for the stopwatch. And when you do select the stopwatch, I like to make this one green. Again, up to your preference. But then we're going to make this one green for new time entry. And then whenever you're stopping an entry, it's going to be red. We're then going to add a step, and we're going to add a page 2. Select database, and then you're going to tie it to the time entries database. And where it says as empty, you're going to select as time entry. That's basically just making sure we're adding it as that database template we created there on the time entries database. Then you're going to select edit a property, and we're going to select start time. And here we're then going to select now. Then edit another property, and we're going to select tasks. And then you're going to select this page. So it's basically just relating this time entry to this task that you're currently on. Then edit another property again and put the status to running. Once you're done creating that new time entry button, we're going to again search for button and create another one. But this time we're going to create one for whenever we need to stop an entry. So we're going to name this one end time entry. Going to select the icon and then change the color to red, and then select the stopwatch again. And then we're going to add a step here, but it's going to be a little bit different than the first button automation we created. For this scenario, we're instead going to select edit pages in. And for edit pages in, we're going to select the time entries database. And you can see here, it says all pages in time entries. We obviously don't want to edit all pages. We want to filter down here. So let's select this, and we're going to create some filter rules. The first one is going to be where status is running. Then we're going to add another filter rule and leave it as and we're going to select end time, and then go over here to is relative today and select is empty. And then finally, we're going to add the last rule. And this one is going to be where the start time is not empty. This will help you hone down on the one that is specifically running, and I'll be demonstrating how this works in a little bit. We're then going to select done. And then let's go ahead and create a view whenever you click into a task that you're able to see what is the amount of time that's been spent on it so far. So underneath new time entry and end time entry, let's go ahead and do a slash, and we're going to do a heading. We can select heading 2 or heading 3 or heading 1. It's really up to you on how big you want this to be. And then we're just going to name this one time entries. Underneath that heading that we just created, do a slash and then search for data. And we're going to do a table view. Then on the right-hand side, select the time entries database that we've created. And then we can just copy the existing view of table for now. And let's get rid of this time entries database title. And then let's name this view related to task. Then also while we're here, let's add stopwatch icon here just so it looks a little nicer. And then let's do a filter, and we're going to filter down just on time entries that are related to this task. So we're going to select tasks, then it's select tasks, and then we're going to relate it to this tasks here. So just select the top one here, and that will make it so it always dynamically relates to the task that you're viewing. So select task. And because we're working the database template, it's not showing any data, but that's fine. Let's clean up this database a little bit. So on the right-hand side, we have tasks here. We don't need that because we already know that it's related to this page we're viewing. So we're going to select hide and view. And then let's make it so that we can always see the total hours spent, the total billable amount, and then the total minutes. Then let's select filter so that this filter isn't showing. And let's select sort, and we're going to sort by the start time is descending, just so that you have the most recent tasks there at the top. And then again, we're going to click filter and sort so that disappears. And then before we're done editing this database template, I realized I missed one major thing. If you go to end time entry, select the edit button, and then we're going to do edit property. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit end time equals now. And then we're also going to adjust the status, and we're going to put the status to stopped. Once you've made that change, which is pretty major, select done. And then we're going to click out of here, and let's create like a new task to play around with. Let's name this one create client portal. Put yourself as the owner. You can put a due date for this task. You can put the priority, any tags that you want. So maybe we'll add a tag of Notion here. And then you can also create a new project related to this task, just so you can see that. For this project, I'm just going to name this one YouTube videos. It's now related to the YouTube video project. And let's go ahead and open up this new task. And because it's default, it automatically took those changes that we made. And I'm going to create a new time entry. To do that, just simply press the button. And you can see that the status was set to running. It automatically timestamps the start time with now. And let me give it just like a minute. And we're going to then select end time entry so you can see how that works. Okay, now that I've waited a little bit, I'm going to select end time entry. And you can see that it's a difference of a minute. So it's that one total minute here. And you can see that it was $2.08 with my $125 rate. So that's how you're going to handle time entries. By the end of the video, we'll also create a way for you to be able to see all your time entries in one place, not just based on tasks. But up next, we're going to create a meetings database so that you can track your meetings that you have with your clients and be able to use AI and Notion to summarize them. So we're going to go back to the main page of the Notion client portal. Underneath time entries, we're going to create a new page. And then we're going to select templates, and we're going to select the meetings database that Notion provides. And then we'll modify it to meet our own needs, but might as well not add some extra work in for us for creating that database from scratch. So we're going to get that template. You can see Notion provides some things already. So we have some meetings in a list view where you can see what's the type, what is the last edited time. You can also see the meetings in a calendar view. You can see them by the type. You can see mine. And then finally, you can see that list by all. And in this all, you can add attendees. And I'll be showing you how to add your clients to this client portal for free. And you'll be able to add them here, like in this view when you click into it. But now the major modifications you'll just need to make to this meetings database is you're probably going to want to change the types into the actual types you conduct for your business for the type of meetings you have. And then we're also going to create a relationship to the projects database. And when you create that relation, we're going to put no limit, and then we're going to also show it on projects. And this is actually going to allow you to have multiple meetings associated with the projects. So you can click into your projects and be able to tell, these are all the meetings we've conducted about this project, and be able to review the notes on it. So for example purposes, let's just tie these to the YouTube video project. Then when you come up here to the right-hand side for the database templates, you can see that there are two types. There's new stand-up and new weekly. You can adjust the database templates just like we did for time entries and tasks to meet your own needs. But if we go in here, we can take a look at what these look like. So Notion's provided discussion topics, any team updates. And then for the new weekly, if we go in here, you can see pre-read, agenda items, action items. So go ahead and adjust this on however you like to conduct meetings. And if you have Notion AI, I definitely recommend adding an AI property. And the way that you can do that is by selecting add a property. We're going to select text, and then we're going to select AI autofill. And we can select one of these options. You can summarize, translate, get the key info, or do a custom autofill. Let's go ahead for this AI property, select summary, but you can also create like multiple AI fields if you want. And I'm going to save those changes, and we're going to turn on auto update. And now let's test that out and see what that looks like and how I recommend that workflow being. So I'm just going to have some fake nodes generated real quick, and I'm just going to create this fake meeting. So we're just going to name it like fake meeting, for example. Then I'm going to open it up, and we can have this a new weekly for now. And underneath this, I'm just going to have Notion AI generate a bunch of fake notes. So I'm going to ask AI to write notes for a fake meeting and make it long. And then there we go. We have AI has generated this fake meeting. And then what we can do up here is just have it generate. And then it says it's a fake meeting created by Benjamin Taylor and all that information. So if you use something like Fireflies or another solution that is going to transcript all of your meetings, you can just throw all of that data into here and have AI summaries of them, as well as clients are going to be able to review that whenever they come into their client portal. Okay, I'm going to X out of here, and then on this meetings, I'm going to change the icon into a calendar, and I'm going to just put it back to the default, and let's select this, and then let's go ahead back to the Notion client portal. And I forgot to make the adjustment for the time entries, so we're just going to come here and do the stopwatch. And let's make them all the same kind of color here. So I'm going to search target and then search for a check here. And then we have all the databases that we need for this simple client portal. And now it's time just to make it a little bit more appealing and also be able to easily gain insights from it here on just this homepage. So to do that, we're first going to create two columns up here on the top part of the page. And to do that, you're going to select slash, and then you're going to select two. And then we're going to do two columns. And we're going to pull all this databases that we have into this two column area here. And then on the right-hand side, we're then going to create a view to see a calendar view of all the meetings. So we're going to do a slash. Then we're going to search for data. Then going to do table view. Select that meetings database. And then let's go with that calendar view. And when you exit out of here, we're going to drag this a little bit to the left-hand side. And then let's add some properties here. So we're going to want to be able to see what is the type, and you can just show the type by selecting the eyeball. And then that's all we need for the calendar there. And if you want callouts for these databases, you can do that too. And so if we do a slash and we do callout, you can add these types of sections here where you can change the color. So let's do the default background for now. And then we're going to name this one databases and search for the database icon. And let's actually drag all these into here now. And then underneath that call out for databases, let's create the ability to do quick adds for some of these things. So we're going to do a slash call out again. And then here, we're going to do a plus. And then we're going to name this section quick add. If you want to, you can bold these and underline them. So you can bold, underline there, and then let's bold and underline databases as well. And then underneath quick add, we're going to do a slash, and then we're going to search for button. And for this one, we're going to name this one a new task. Then we're going to add a step, and we're going to add a page too. And we're going to add it to that task database. And we're going to add it as task. Then you can just leave task name as unedited as if you wish. And then we're going to add another step. And we are going to then open page. And we're going to open up in center peak. And we're going to select the new page that has been added using this automation. And then select done. Let's also actually, before you're done with this, let's add that icon and then drag it underneath quick add. And now when I press new task, one is automatically created from this home page, and you're easily able to enter in whatever data that you need to enter in here. All right, now let's do the same thing for all the other ones. So I'm actually just going to duplicate this 3 times. To make things easy. And we're going to go into this first one and we're going to name it new project. And then instead of add page to tasks, we're going to search for projects. And then we already have that last piece ready to go to open up in Centerpeak. So we're good there. And then let's also adjust the icon to the project. Now let's do time entries. So new time entry, add page 2, and then we're going to add it to time entries, and we're going to add it as time entry. Then we're good there, and let's move on to meetings, and we're going to do a new meeting, and then search for meetings here. And then this one for the template, we're just going to do empty, but you could choose one of the database templates if you wish. And then we're good for the addition. Let's add the same icon we used and actually do that same thing for time entries here by adding the stopwatch. In this calendar view, is taking up quite a bit of room. So if you wish, you can just change it to a week there so you can see what's going on for this week. Up to you on what you want to do there. Next up, let's create a view so we can see all of our projects. So we're going to do a slash and we're going to do data table view. And let's search for projects. And let's just bring in all those views that Notion already created for us. Like obviously you can create some new ones if you wish, but I think these are all pretty helpful. So I'm going to select active here. And then again, select projects, and we're going to bring over timeline, create another view, and we're going to select projects, and then we're going to do a board view. And those should be all the ones you need. I don't think you need to see all on this page. You can click into the database to see that if you wish. And above this projects view, let's go ahead and give it a title so you can easily recognize what it is. So we're going to do a slash, and I'm going to do a heading 2, and I'm just going to name it projects. And you could put like a little emoji if you wish. We could do target. And then we're going to drag it on top of this project's view. And then next, let's move on to being able to see all those task views. So let's do a slash, and then we're going to do heading 2, and we're going to name this one tasks. And then let's do the check here. And then underneath, slash again, data table. And we're going to search for the task database. And again, let's bring over all these views. So select by project. And then board. And then we'll leave the all tasks off of here. And for this task data view, you can see when we click on projects that is pretty long. We probably only on this page, we just need ones that are associated with active projects. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a new property to pull over into tasks what the project status is. So we're going to select plus, and then we're going to go ahead and select rollup. And then for the relation, we're going to select project, and then we're going to look up the status here, and then show original is just fine. And then we're going to name it, and we're going to name it project status. And then let's add a filter and select project status. And then for project status, we're going to do is in progress or is to do. That should make sure you're only seeing some of the tasks that are actually still relevant and don't get that full backlog of history of tasks here on this important dashboard for you. So our last step here on this page is we're going to create a time entries. So we'll do a slash, and we're going to do heading 2, and then enter time entries. Put a stopwatch emoji if you wish. And then underneath it, we're going to do a slash and search for a table view, and then select that time entries database. And unlike the other ones, we don't have a bunch of views provided. So we're going to create some together here. But for now, just select copy existing view table. And we're going to do different ones based on duration. So let's do one for this week to start off with, and then we'll also do one for this month. And then we'll do one for all time, so your clients can see all of your time entries together. For this view, let's go ahead and select the icon, and we're going to search for calendar. And you're going to do the week calendar. Then we're going to hide this database title. And now let's filter. And we're going to filter based on the start time. And then when you do that, it automatically goes ahead and does it for this week. So you can see is relative today, this week. So we're good there. We don't need to make any adjustments. But we'll probably want to add a sort, and we're going to sort on the start time. And we're going to do it based on descending so that we have the most recent time entries popping up here. Let's also make sure that we're summing the total minutes and total hours, so we can easily see that. We're already summarizing the billable amount. And then over here on the right-hand side, you can see the task that it's related to. Next up for this month, let's go ahead and duplicate this week. And then let's name it this month. For the icon, search for calendar. And then you're going to do the month calendar. And then we're going to change the filter. For start time this week, we're actually going to change it to this month. Then let's do one for all. So I'm going to, again, we're going to duplicate. And we're going to name it all. And then let's just give this one the stopwatch icon. And then for the filter, we're just going to remove the start time filter completely. And that will make sure that you're pulling in all. Okay, now that we have everything that we want created on this Notion client portal main page, let me just finally walk you through all the steps you need to take to go from project to time entry to adding new meetings, and also instruct you on how you can share this with your clients. So to start off, everything's probably going to start off with a new project. And so we're going to create a new project, and we're going to name this one Getting client setup and portal. You have the statuses you can choose. So we have backlog, planning, in progress, pause, done, cancel. Let's go ahead and put this one into planning. You can assign yourself owner. Here you're able to see the completion of the project, and this is based on the amount of tasks that are associated with this project and what is their status of being incomplete. You then can put here in the dates. So let's say that this is going to be from January 12th until January 31st. You can also add in if the project is being blocked by another project. And then here is where you can add your associated meetings. We can add a priority. Let's put it at medium. And then we can have AI summarize what this whole meeting's about if you enter in some information here. Next up, let's go ahead and add some tasks that are related to this project. So we're going to select add tasks. And we're going to create a new one that says share the portal. We're going to press the plus button here. And you can see once we add this task, you can see the completion is put at 0%. If we were to go in here and select done, it's automatically moved to 100% completion. But we can go ahead and open up this task. And as you've already seen, we can do those time entries and also end the time entries. And if we want to add a new meeting associated with this project, let's select new meeting. And then let's name this one client portal introduction. You can add the attendees and the event time. Let's put it for today. And then we can associate it with the project. And we're going to associate with the getting client and portal. You can enter a type. So we can enter training for this one. Then you can associate whatever database template you want with it. And then when we click out here, you can see that it's pulled onto your calendar view for meetings. And you can obviously put your notes and stuff like that in there. Now, in terms of sharing this with your clients, I recommend keeping a master Notion client portal that you can use as the base whenever you're going to duplicate it for each one of the new clients that you bring on. This is the main one that you're going to want to keep and just keep it as just as is. But what we're going to do is we're going to come here over here to the right-hand side, and you can select these 3 circles here and go ahead and duplicate. And once you've duplicated that template, you're then going to rename it and name it for whatever client it's going to be for. So let's do client A portal. Then when it's time to share with your clients, you're going to come up here to the right-hand side and select share. And then you simply invite the people who need to see the client portal by entering their emails here. To start off, I definitely recommend just giving edit access so they can give you projects and assign different tasks to you, but not full access because they'd be able to delete the whole client portal if you did. That's it for this video on how to build a client portal in Notion. Obviously, we could keep going on for forever and keep optimizing it, but I think I've given you the tools to be able to do that yourself. If you guys have any questions about how you could potentially add things onto this client portal, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and like for more future Notion content just like this. See you in the next video.